It is a day tech enthusiasts have been waiting eagerly for years. Apple is putting the finishing touches on their new store at the Halifax shopping centre, with the doors set to open tomorrow morning. It's just the latest in a number of big retail chains to make their way into our region, and will have an impact both for shoppers and the local competition. Here's Global's Rebecca Lau.
It's enough to stop people right in their tracks. The much-anticipated first Apple store in the Maritimes is set to open tomorrow morning at the Halifax shopping centre. While a grand opening doesn't typically make the news, the hype surrounding this store is palpable. Jim Dalrymple is the editor of a blog dedicated to Apple. He's been to more than a dozen grand openings, but to see one open up in his hometown is pretty exciting.
The buzz is just incredible. It's an event. It really is an event to see people lined up around the block just to see an Apple store. So I haven't seen that with anything else.
This will be the only Apple store east of Quebec.
Among those affected by the power outage, hundreds of Apple fans, they lined up for the store's grand opening in Halifax today. They came from all over the Maritimes, and in the end, they were not disappointed. The first Apple store on the East Coast opened its doors this morning at the Halifax shopping centre. As Global's Brett Ruskin found out, today's power outage delayed the launch, but did not dampen anyone's Apple enthusiasm.
As the sun rose over the Halifax shopping centre, one corner of the mall was unusually busy.
I'm here because my 17-year-old son, Maxwell, has had a Mac since he was 12 and loves Mac and everything about it. And so he was tweeting as he was coming to see how many were in line.
A lot of people were already in line, including Cole McLean.
I was the first one here, 12:45 a.m. Had to camp outside the mall, but it was well worth it.
But what makes Apple so great? Why are people lining up today? Really, there's no easy answer. The Apple store is opening this morning, but there's no sales or deals to be had.
No, not that I know of. There's no deals, but you know, Apple doesn't really have to have any deals because their products sell the way that they are. You know, the Apple store is an experience that most people here haven't had. They've heard a lot about from around the world when stores have opened, and it's something that they want to experience too.
So everyone here in this lineup are waiting for the Apple Store experience. They had to wait a little bit longer than usual too, with the citywide power outage adding about a 2-hour delay. But when the lights did come back on, the experience began.
We were supposed to get up at 4:30, but we left at 5 in the end.
After some delay due to a power outage, the Apple Store is now open and customers are filing through the store. Now, staff tell me here that there's at least 125 different products that customers can use and touch and look at, including the Apple desktop computer that I'm using right now to film this.
Excited customers will now have a local outlet for buying and maintaining their Apple products, and the entire Apple experience might happen again as early as next month.
I'd say we'll see an iPhone 5 in around maybe even early September. I'll be there. I might even be sleeping outside again. Never know.
Brett Ruskin, Global News, Halifax.
It is a lot easier to get your Apple fix tonight. The region's first full-service Apple store is now open at Halifax Shopping Centre. The store features iPhones, iPads, and iPods, along with some technical staff who gather at the cleverly marketed Genius Bar. This morning's grand opening, though, was delayed by a power outage that affected 8,000 customers in Halifax, but Apple fans did not seem to mind waiting around.
Having like all these users and people who know what they're doing, and it's really exciting.
It's nice because Halifax really doesn't have a store like this. It's nice to have a big Apple store in Halifax.
This is the 25th Apple store in Canada, the first one in the Maritimes.
Looks more like a sporting event than a store opening, but that was the case this morning at the Halifax Shopping Centre as Apple opened its first retail outlet here in the Maritimes. Hundreds of people were up bright and early to get in line. Some of them even camped out overnight. CTV's Gareth McDonald stopped by to see what all the excitement was about.
With the ribbon officially cut, it felt more like running onto a football field than walking into an electronics store.
It's very exciting to be one of the first people to come in. Lots of cheers, Lots of enthusiasm, lots of excitement, but it's amazing to finally have Apple here.
Something these tech enthusiasts have been looking forward to for a long time.
I actually misread the calendar. I was here yesterday, too.
Obviously, when it comes to Apple, Colin Pye is loyal. He's been using the company's products for almost 30 years.
The first Mac I was using was actually running system 0.93.
In layman's terms, that's slow and old. What a contrast from the shiny new products in this store.
You've got so much stock of things that you've only read about. It's nice to be able to reach out and pick up a box.
And today, hundreds of people were. iPhones and iPads, and of course, the MacBook.
They're simple devices. They're easy to use. Everybody can understand them. And they're well designed. You know, they're not designed for a carrier. They're designed for a user.
Up until about a decade ago, Apple had what some called only a cult following, but the iPod changed that.
Now, Apple is a mainstream consumer electronics company. It's no longer just about the Mac, but it's about the whole experience. And that's what people can get here where they can't get, you know, at a regular big box store.
Part of that experience is product workshops that the store will be holding for both kids and adults.
This is only the 24th Apple store in Canada and the first one east of Quebec, so having one here in the Maritimes is exciting not only for the enthusiasts, but also those who rely on Apple products to make a living.
Neil Meister is a freelance graphic designer.
It's really convenient. It's nice to have a place to come in for advice and technical support that it's hard to get otherwise.
Dr. Colette Sever doesn't need an iPad, but she thinks it could help out at her clinic.
I just want to be able to provide to my patients the most current, up-to-date information and have it all at my fingertips.
And thanks to today's opening, Apple products could soon be at the fingertips of a lot of Maritimers. Gareth McDonald, CTV News.